Today we're going to be talking about boundaries and how to set boundaries and how important boundaries are when you are trying to level up, when you're just trying to live your life. Boundaries are super important, and I've been in a season where God has been testing me. Number one, he's been pushing me to set boundaries, and then number two, he's been pushing me to enforce those boundaries no matter the repercussions, because not everybody's going to receive, you cutting open access off. Like, about if you are like a regular somewhere, right? You get to kind of do whatever you want. You used to going up to the spot, knowing the security guard, being able to dap them up and just walk in, right? Nothing. But then management changes, and you go up to the front, whole new security, whole new management, and they don't know you. And they decide that you don't have the same pool that you used to have. That's basically what setting boundaries is like. So then you gotta wait in line, and think about it. Like, if you're used to going somewhere and then you have to wait in line, you're like, nah, I'm gonna go, because I know I'm like that. I'm like, listen, I don't wait in lines. So I don't know what to tell you, but I'm about to bounce. And that's literally what it's like when you decide to set boundaries, especially with people that you've known for a long time. So first things first, when you're setting boundaries, it needs to start with yourself. So basically, you have to assess yourself first. You have to tell yourself, like, okay, if I'm trying to get here, I have to be like, okay, it kind of like goes hand in hand with discipline and being obedient. If I want to be at a certain point, then I have to establish a boundary within myself. There are certain things that I cannot do if I'm trying to level up. If you can't commit to your own non-negotiables, you won't have the will to make anyone else commit to your non-negotiables. So it really does start with you. It's the same thing as self-love. It's the same thing as any other thing that in life, when you're trying to set a tone, set a precedent in an area, you have to start with you, because the more comfortable you are enforcing that with yourself, you will be more comfortable with enforcing it with others. Because if you can't get yourself to be like, okay, I know I don't want this, I have to like really be hard on myself about this. If you can't do that with you, when somebody else is doing that to you, you're going to be lenient with them. And setting boundaries, you can't be lenient. You got to have your foot on your neck and somebody else's neck, okay? Basically, the reason you need to set boundaries is because, number one, you need to protect your energy from the world. Especially now when we're going through all this information, so much social media is going on, it's always been going on. Like, having self-respect is literally the first step. It's like, you can't love nobody else if you don't love yourself. If you don't respect yourself, you can't expect other people to respect you. How you come into the world is how other people are going to receive you, and the way that they're going to actually like treat you. Yeah, you really just got to work on protecting your peace. I'm big on protecting my peace. Like, there's a lot of people that I don't deal with anymore just because like they couldn't respect my boundary. Or there's a lot of stuff that I don't entertain anymore because I know better. Now I know that I have to walk through life holding my head a certain way. I have to like put blinders on so that I don't see the nonsense, because anything that can bring me out of the peace that I have prayed for, that I've worked hard for, it is not worth my time. What? If it costs me my inner peace, it is too expensive, okay? Write that down. If it costs you your peace, it is too expensive. There are so many things in this world that people are willing to gamble. For me, peace, synchronicity, and myself is not one of them. So some steps to start with yourself will be set time limits for yourself. So like for me, when I was really getting into my self-development journey, like when I first started, I had to set time frame. I check in with myself before I check in with the world. So I try not to touch my phone before 9 a.m. I usually wake up around 7, sometimes 8, and the first thing I do is I don't even check text messages. I might check the Bible app, that's about it, but I try not to touch my phone, and a good way to do that is have an alarm clock so that you don't have to use your phone for your timer. I use my iPad, and I don't have my messages. I don't have my message notifications on my iPad, so I don't get distracted. So turn that off, hop right up, pray, turn on my motivational, make sure that I really tap in with me, that I get the words that I need for the day. Back in like 2015, I used to hop on the shade room the first thing in the morning. I used to go and check up on everything, and not even realizing, number one, I was always late. Number two, I'm checking in with people who don't know me, who don't give a fuck about me. I'm like literally going and checking in with them before I'm checking in with myself. Like, that's just crazy. So that's step number one into protecting your peace and setting your own boundaries. I don't do it as much anymore, but it's something that I'm working on. Making sure that I cut my phone off at 9 p.m. So from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. my phone is usually on do not disturb, unless you're like my favorite, or unless like we ended up having a conversation after 9 p.m. and you're on the phone with me. But that's usually my time where I get to be myself. I get to like really dive in deep and do like a self-care thing at night. It really, like, it sounds simple and it sounds like it won't really change anything, but cutting off, like, going to bed straight from social media is so bad. Like, for me, I have trouble sleeping. The blue light will fuck you up, like all types of stuff. So creating limits for yourself, like, I don't need to check in. Social media may not be a trigger for you. For me, it is. And that also is establishing boundaries within yourself, is knowing your triggers, knowing the things that actually deplete you. I get depleted if I'm on the app too much, which is why, like, I was on a break. I'm always on a social media break because I always need to. I was on a break. I delete the app off my phone, honestly, and I'll check in and I'll be on like .com, but like I just won't continuously have it, because for me it's a trigger. It's something that like I'm actively working on, and I'm okay with saying that. Like, before I used to be like, oh my God, now I don't care, because I'm so protected in who I am and what I'm trying to do, that like just being honest with myself is going to take me further. So set a social cutoff time is going to be crucial. And like I already said, checking yourself before you check in with others. So now we're going to move on to setting boundaries with other people. Now, listen. Setting boundaries with other people, honey, ooh, to be real with you, is tough. And it's something that I'm actively going through. Setting boundaries has been at an all-time high. God said, you need to sit down. You need to stop answering everybody's phone call. You need to tap in deeper, because there's things that you need to learn, that you need to know about yourself, that are going to take you to this next level. And you need to get your stuff together. Like, stop worrying about the outside world and worry about you. And me setting a boundary for myself does not mean that I'm better than you. It doesn't mean that you're beneath me. It just means that there are certain things that I can no longer tolerate. Like, I can no longer tolerate people who don't offer me the same grace that I offer them. That is number one. Like, my feelings matter too. And just because you're used to me being strong doesn't mean that, doesn't mean that, I'm always going to show up like that. Like, people who don't establish boundaries within themselves have a hard time with this. But if you are not on the same level as me, it's not even that I don't even want to say that I can't fuck with you. It's just that I'm aware of myself enough to know that I have to let you go and do your own thing at this time. This doesn't mean that we're not going to be connected, that I can't love you. I'm just going to have to love you at a distance. I'm going to have to let you go do you, so that I can focus on me, and that I can only be around people who understand. Like, some things that I've experienced while establishing boundaries are people gonna say you've switched up. It's people that be like, you be switching up, are the people who want to stay the same. The people who want to stay in the same waters. If I'm used to Pacific, I want to be in Mediterranean. I want to be in the Mediterranean Sea. I don't want to stay the same. I'm always constantly wanting to level up. So in that leveling up, you have to realize that everybody can't go. Realizing that everybody can't go is gonna hurt the people that you love. It's gonna hurt them to see you elevating. They're probably gonna put dirt on your name, like all types of stuff, trying to make you out to be a villain for you wanting better for yourself. And if that's how they feel, that's how they feel. But for you, you have to protect your peace at all costs. And protecting your peace looks like not answering phone calls, not allowing people to drain you. And at one point I was giving endlessly and nobody was pouring back into me. So what I had to do was I had to really assess myself and be like, okay, so in what ways am I overgiving, and how can I stop this? When you stop, people will start being like, oh, you switched up, because they're so used to you giving away stuff for free. No. The boundary starts there. I can't give you this free. You have to think of yourself as a cup. Okay. As a cup, right? God fills up your cup, right? So imagine the cup was filled up with water. If you see this right now, this cup is depleted. You can't let yourself get low like this, because then when somebody comes and they want, like, if you're this low right here, that means that you need to recharge. So if somebody comes and tries to dip out of your cup, you're just going to continue to be depleted. You're going to continue to be drained. What's inside this cup right here, your cup should be full at all times. What's inside this cup is for you. And anything on the outside of that cup, anything that overflows from the cup, is for other people. So if you're not making sure that your piece is intact, you're not making sure that you are being poured into. I'm not saying that everybody that comes to you wants to take from you. Your relationships, people will try to make you feel like you're bad for wanting mutually beneficial relationships. That's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like that in your romantic relationships, in your friendships, like with your siblings, with your family. Like, that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to ebb and flow. You're supposed to be able to give and take, and not at a point where you're allowing that person to rob you. Now, that's another point. You have to be very aware and wise not to allow other people to rob you, because you're assisting in their sin. You're assisting in them taking from you. So you have to be aware of, okay, for me, there's certain people I can't talk to for too long, because just the conversations be heavy. And when you're somebody who, for me, like, I have the gift of gab, I'm able to talk and I'm able to give really good advice. That's a form of work. And I have to look at myself in a way like, okay, this is valuable. Number one, this is valuable information. And me pouring into that person, now I have to go and recharge. I need to go lay down for a little bit. I need to go, like, let me go drink some water. Even like if you're spending hours a day on social media, just scrolling, and 3 hours don't went by and your whole day is gone, check yourself and see how you feel. Like, be very conscious of like how you feel when you talk to certain people, because there are some people who are energy suckers, and they'll come around you and they'll just pull and take, and they don't even know that they're doing it. So you also have to be mindful that some people don't know that they're sucking energy from you. They don't know that, and that's nothing on them. But once you realize it, you got to talk to them and be like, listen, baby, we can only have 30-minute conversations. I can't talk to you every day. You have to be very transparent about the things that are stripping you of your own peace, because if you don't, you are going to deplete, and we all have our own assignments. You need to be aware for your assignment so that you can execute on a daily basis what it is that God has brought you in this world to do. Like, it's not easy to establish these boundaries, but once you do, you will feel so much better for it. Person drains me, but it just means that you just have to like really be like, I can only talk to them once a week, or I can only hang out with that person like in certain settings. Setting boundaries looks like only being able to hang, like, if you know that you have a friend that is not a brunch friend and she a club friend, only hang out with her at the club. There's friends. That's why I'm a huge fan of having friends in different places. Having friends for different situations is going to help you in the long run, because then you'll be able to be more clear-headed about, okay, this person actually be coming to me and she just want X, Y, and Z, versus like she can't actually really help me with my solution. So when I am feeling like I'm in a bind, I can't really talk to her because she can't actually help me. Like really assessing my situation. That is something I've been really working on, is like looking at how I feel when I leave people. When you leave a conversation, check yourself how you feel. Like, oh, that I feel uplifted. When you set these boundaries, people are going to take it personal. That has nothing to do with you. If somebody takes it personal, if somebody doesn't understand that you have to pull yourself away in certain moments, then that person they need to check within themselves and see if maybe they need to do the same, because at the end of the day, your peace of mind is something that it's a prayer of mine. It's something that you don't want to gamble with. You do not want to gamble your peace of mind for friendship. Like going through things is hard, and establishing boundaries within yourself, getting comfortable with saying no to things that you're used to saying yes to. Like, I'd be like, let me think about that. Like, let me especially for me or people with service-based businesses, like people try to take from me all the time. So establishing boundaries with yourself also, it then transcends in your business. It transcends in all of your relationships, your friends, your family. You know, it's very important, and overall the grand scheme of things is when you start to do it in one area, then eventually you'll be able to catch it when it's happening in other areas. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that this gave you guys some insight and will inspire you to set boundaries for your friends, your family. This was good. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for tuning in, and I shall talk to you later. Toodles!